President Maithripala Sirisena says it is not the policy of the government to privatize state-owned assets. Discussions are underway with the IMF to change tax systems and increase the revenue. A revelation by the Prime Minister in Parliament. 157 million rupees belonging to CSN confiscated by the state. Whole transaction is profitable. Minister Siyambala Pittiya says while tabling the committee report in Parliament.
මේ කමිටුව අර බැඳුම් කර වංචාවේ නීතිඥ තුන් දෙනාගේ කමිටුව හා සමානයි. වෙන කිසිම වෙනසක් නැහැ.
Swimmer Michael Phelps becomes the highest gold medal awarded athlete in Olympic history.
A very good evening, everyone. We're coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst studios here in Colombo with your primetime news bulletin on Newsfirst. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
Good evening, I'm Shahan Dhirampal. Let's start off a look at our top story this evening.
President Maithripala Sirisena emphasized today that it is not his policy to sell state-owned enterprises.
The opening ceremony of the Jaya container terminal at the port of Colombo was held today in parallel with the 37th anniversary celebrations of the Sri Lanka Ports Authority. President Maithripala Sirisena declared open the reconstructed CFS1 warehouse, which occupies an area of 5,400 square meters.
How do we free ourselves from the 9 trillion rupee debt burden? How do we bring about economic development? The Colombo harbour is no more a loss-making harbour, but is a profit-making harbour. We are utilising these profits to pay off the debt from the Hambantota port. No one can be free of this. We cannot point the finger to anyone over this. We are bound to serve the motherland and the people. I must make it clear that I will in no way agree to a policy that will see the sale of profit-making state enterprises. If there is an enterprise that is making losses, there are measures to follow to ensure that it makes a profit. One such measure could be bringing about public-private partnerships. No matter what economic issues we face, it is important to obtain the assistance of all to enhance the national revenue of all resources and increase production.
The official website of the Sri Lanka Ports Authority was also launched at the event. As a ministry, the profits that we make through the Colombo harbour have to be allocated for the Hambantota harbour. The location of the Hambantota harbour is very important. However, the expenses of the past have to be paid from the profits made through the Colombo harbour. The Colombo harbour is ranked 26th in the world. Our hope is to move it to the top 20. During the ceremony, a sum of 2.5 million rupees is donated to the Presidential Fund for Kidney Patients.
Wickremesinghe says that former President Mahinda Rajapaksa should be brought before a parliamentary committee in order to be questioned regarding the obtaining of loans deceiving state accounts.
We have been trapped in a debt trap of 9.5 billion rupees. That means 9,500 million rupees. Sometimes our total debt amount can be 10 billion rupees. We have appointed a 3-member committee with effect from 1st of March 2016 under the guidance of a former secretary to look into this matter. We can only announce the total sum of debt after receiving the report of the committee. Unlike the previous government, we cannot resolve this issue by obtaining more loans. If we want to overcome this dangerous situation, we will have to increase the country's income. There is a need to implement a system in 2017 to generate more income together with the new tax system. We have already spoken to the International Monetary Fund in this regard.
Prime Minister, why do you think they have obtained loans without including it in the state accounts? Is it to deceive the public, the World Bank or an institution?
It was to deceive the World Bank and fill their pockets.
When this loan was taken, it was a former president who was also serving in the capacity of the finance minister. I would like to know from you if he is aware of such a loan.
We have a committee on public finance which is headed by MP Sumandiran. So I think that this committee can summon the former president in his capacity as the former finance minister and question him on this. Then you can submit the report to us.
The Janata Vimukti Peramuna expressed the following views with regard to a committee being appointed to ascertain the total debt of the country.
The Auditor General has the responsibility of calculating that value. The Auditor General very clearly issued a report on the debt of the country after carrying out a thorough analysis. We saw the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister trying to object the said report in a threatening manner. If they are appointing a committee to look into the debt of the country, that can be seen as a step taken by the government to challenge the powers of the Auditor General, disregarding the Audit Act.
Magistrate Dhammika Hemapala issued an order today to confiscate 157.5 million rupees that had been allegedly invested by the Carlton Sports Network.
Submitting a motion, the Police Financial Crimes Investigation Division requested courts to confiscate the invested money. The money had been deposited in a private bank under the name of a businessman. However, the businessman in question had informed the police that the money does not belong to him. Thereby, court ordered to confiscate the deposited money. Preliminary investigations have revealed that the money obtained through a large-scale international investment project had been deposited in a private bank under a different name. Convening a media briefing today, the Unity Through Power Devolution movement expressed the following views.
රාජපක්ෂ පවුලගේ මුදල්
157.5 million rupees belonging to the Rajapaksa family, which is pumped into the CSN channel, has been ordered to be deposited in the central bank. It was said that they have 80 million rupees in Dubai. They have millions and billions of money. We believe that if all this money is gathered, the government will be able to get rid of the value-added tax.
ආණ්ඩුවෙන් පුළුවන් තරම් ඉක්මනට ගත්තා නම් වැට් බද්ද නැති කරන්නත් පුළුවන් කියන එක තමයි අපි.
Two lands said to be owned by Basil Rajapaksa are to be taken over by the state. This was revealed to the media by Minister Dr. Rajda Senaratne today.
A proposal was made to Cabinet to construct another police academy. We already have an academy in Kalutara. We need lands for it. At this moment, there are indictments filed against the lands owned by Basil Rajapaksa in Kaduvela. They claim that they do not own the land in Kaduvela. The owner says that he does not own it. That land spans almost 18 acres. It was purchased at a cost of 64 million rupees. Another 125 million has been spent for the construction of the land. The deed is under the name of Mr. Nadisan. He claims to know nothing. One can say that when the deed is drafted, the person who obtains it does not sign it. Only the person who gives it signs it. So the contractor, the architect and the engineer wants to know who is building this house, who paid them. It is the same case with the Brown Hill land in Mathura. Therefore, this 18 acres land will be used to construct a police academy through a cabinet paper. Brown Hill in Mathura is like Colombo 7. Now there is no owner for that land. There is a case against Basil Rajapaksa regarding that. That land too will be taken over by the state for a tourism academy.
When the Samurdhi was transformed into Divinagama, officials attached to the Samurdhi launched a trade union struggle to attain permanent employee status, a promise which was given to them.
Today they received a triumphant result as the Supreme Court determined that the employees of the Divinagama department be granted an employee provident fund.
A fundamental rights petition that was filed at the Supreme Court, citing that the Employees' Provident Fund's provisions of those attached to the Divinagama department have been taken away, was taken up today. Director General of the Divinagama department, Chandra Wickramasinghe, presented the document in this regard to court. The document, which was presented to Supreme Court by Additional Solicitor General Nirin Pillai, noted that the employees in question have been benefited by the EPF at institutions that they served prior to being recruited to the Divinagama department. It accepts that these employees have the right to obtain the Employees' Provident Fund. This fundamental rights petition was taken up before a bench comprising of Chief Justice Keshri Pavan, Justices Anil Gunaratne and Priyanta Jayawardena.
What does the future hold for the Colombo port city? The matter was debated in Parliament today, where the Prime Minister assured that a fresh agreement will be inked after amending certain conditions.
According to the new agreement, the company running the project will not be given ownership of any land. It has been agreed to build an international financial center in place of the night racing track. We discussed with the Chinese government and the project company to waive the claim of compensation. Therefore, we will not pay any compensation. According to the Coast Conservation Act, permission has been granted.
I do not know how the calculations were made. The Chinese company says that it incurred a loss of 43 million rupees because of the suspension of work. It is said that an agreement has been reached to grant 2 hectares of land as a result of the visits undertaken by you and the President to China.
When it was being drafted, we noted that we do not need a night racetrack. We do not need circles for casinos. When additional lands were included, they requested for 2 hectares of land. At the cabinet meeting, it was noted that we cannot grant compensation. During the discussion that followed, they did not make any request for the 2 hectares of land.
Can you tell us, under what local government jurisdiction would the new land be included?
It does not come under any province or district. It will be a corporation formed in parliament. Members of the corporation will be appointed by the government of Sri Lanka. Places like Yala do not fall under any Pradesh Sabha. The same goes for Vilpattu. This is a corporation under the government. All services will be provided by the Colombo Municipal Council.
There are deer and rabbits in Vilpattu. In Yala you can find crocodiles and porcupines. However, this is not a wildlife area. Therefore, Honourable Speaker, that should not be run by a corporation.
The Greater Colombo Economic Commission controls the Biagama Katnaika trade zone. It is called the Investment Board. If we take the 200 to 300 acres in the Panagoda Army camp, that is controlled by the Sri Lanka Army. The area surrounding it is under the Homagama Pradesh Sabha. If they wish, they can grant them the ability to vote. That is all.
Minister of Power and Renewable Energy Ranjit Siambalapitiya informed Parliament today that no loss has been incurred through the controversial coal transaction. The minister made this statement while presenting the report compiled by the 3-member committee appointed by him to look into the matter.
Committee headed by Professor KKYW Pereira was appointed by Minister Siambalapitiya to look into the allegation that a large scam had taken place during the purchasing of coal in the year 2015 and 2016. The committee has presented 8 conclusions with regard to the matter. The conclusion of the report reads that Sri Lanka had saved a sum of $7.5 million through a spot tender procedure in the purchasing of coal when compared to the long-term tenders. The committee says that the mix of procurement through long-term and spot tenders is beneficial when purchasing coal. According to these conclusions, it appears that the country, or as a matter of fact the Ceylon Electricity Board, has made a saving during the purchasing of coal, which caused a widespread controversy. It has also come to light that the purchasing of coal through a mixture of long-term and spot tender procedures, which is a long-term measure, is in fact a trustworthy system, as well as a profitable one. I hereby table this report to the House. Anyone who views this with an open mind can see the clear picture. The facts which we have presented are more than sufficient, but if there is anyone who requires a debate on this beyond the current viewpoint, then I believe myself and the Deputy Minister are prepared for it. This committee is similar to the committee comprising of the 3 lawyers which looked into the bond scam. There is no difference whatsoever. Only the secretary to the ministry, who is Dr. Batagoda himself, knows how a country can benefit or make an economic gain after money in the country has been swindled. Page 9 of this report has concealed all these statistics very well. The corrupt contractor, which was the Swiss-Singapore company, which was awarded this tender, had brought 18 shipments of coal to Sri Lanka during this time frame. Coal from 17 of the 18 shipments had been purchased at over $50 per metric ton. While a transaction of $50 per metric ton is made with the Swiss-Singapore company, only 5 shipments of coal have been purchased at over $50 per metric ton under the spot tender process. It is this simple mathematics that Dr. Pereira is trying to hide in his reports. The team of officials have been appointed with the knowledge of political leadership to conceal fraud and have been provided space for cover-up. But they have forgotten that it was impossible to follow such a scheme in the bond scam. Mr. Batagoda, by presenting your report, you will never be able to conceal this act of fraud of the good governance government. It is the largest scandal that has taken place in Sri Lankan history.
යහපාලන ආණ්ඩුව යටතේ සිදුවෙච්ච අති දැවැන්ත වංචාවේ ප්‍රමාණය වසා ගන්නට ඔබට හැකියාව ලැබෙන්නේ නැහැ.
Amidst this backdrop, there appears to be a delay in the Attorney General's report on the coal transaction. This is due to a difficulty in obtaining the required documents from the relevant institutions necessary for the audit into purchasing of coal since 2009. The Attorney General's Department said that due to the delay, a report on this matter cannot be presented to the Committee on Public Enterprises the day after tomorrow.
Cabinet has granted approval to purchase paddy for a certified price during this yalla season.
The Paddy Marketing Board has planned to purchase 120,000 metric tons of paddy from 19 districts under the government's program to purchase paddy during the 2016 yalla season. The All Ceylon Peasants Federation today visited the chief institution that is engaged in the state paddy purchasing process. Though they arrived to discuss issues surrounding the purchasing process, there was no responsible official present, and it led to the following situation.
The Peasants Federation has arrived. Will you come here? Where are you? He'll be here in 10 minutes.
Later, the All Ceylon Peasants Federation was allowed to meet the Deputy General Manager of the Paddy Marketing Board. What is the law that will be enforced under the Paddy Marketing Board Act No. 17 of 1971 when purchases are made by the Paddy Marketing Board or the private sector?
The objective of the state paddy purchasing process is to maintain a higher price for paddy in the open markets. We purchase 7 to 10% of paddy per harvesting season.
How will the remaining 90% be purchased under the law? And how does the farmer sell off the paddy?
I am not aware if there are provisions in place for the private mill owners to have guaranteed prices.
It is disappointing that the General Manager at the Paddy Marketing Board has no understanding about the Act. We can only assume the nature of the chairman of this institution.
You are weighing the paddy to give competitiveness. The 8% of paddy that you purchase moves to the next season. What is the competition?
The farmers voiced their objection for not enforcing this act. Please inform the respective authority about this.
The Financial Crimes Investigation Division recorded a statement from the former Minister of Trade, Johnston Fernando, today as well.
Statement was recorded from the former minister with regard to an alleged malpractice said to have taken place during a transaction to purchase rice through Lanka Satusa. A separate investigation is underway with regard to the same allegation by the Presidential Commission to investigate into large-scale fraud and corruption. The allegation that has been levelled against the former minister is that a quantity of rice higher than the approved amount by the cabinet has been purchased from Lanka Satusa. It is reported that these excess amounts of rice has been used to produce animal feed since it was spoilt after not being sent to the market on time. As highlighted on Newsfirst, the investigative journalism segment Action TV, the government has incurred a substantial loss since these stocks are sold at a lower cost for animal feed.
Former senior DIG Anurasana Nayaka and former Crimes OIC of the Narahempita Police Sumit Pereira, who were arrested in connection to the Wazim Tajuddin homicide, were further remanded until the 24th of August. The suspects were produced before Colombo Additional Magistrate Nishanta Piris today.
An order was issued to the director of the National Hospital to submit a report as to how former DIG Anurasana Nayaka was moved to the merchant ward at the National Hospital without permission from court. The Prisons Commissioner was also ordered to inquire as to whether the Prisons Hospital can provide the required medication for Anurasana Nayaka. The attorney appearing on behalf of the former DIG requested permission from court for the former DIG to attend his daughter's graduation. However, court turned down the request. Mohammed Muzammil of the National Freedom Front, who was remanded over the misuse of vehicles belonging to the President's office, was released on a cash bail of 25,000 rupees and 2 surety bails of 1 million rupees each. However, he is still prohibited from travelling overseas. Court granted bail taking into consideration the deteriorating health condition of the suspect's children, which was submitted to court through a report.
The government, the 100-day initiative, solely intended to bring happiness to those in sorrow in Sri Lanka, vested yet another project in the public today.
The government, the 100-day initiative, with the people, for the people.
Day 22. sadness in the eyes of a little girl from Patalagama who now breathes a sigh of relief, knowing that she is now safe from the menace of wild elephant incursions. The elephant fence, which was renovated under the Gammatha 100-day initiative for the village of Patalagama, was vested in its people today, following its completion.
We are the only media institution in the world who have identified the issues of people, and we are actively providing solutions to them. This elephant fence, which stands before you, is a perfect example to that.
While we were here until 9 last night, it was the farmers of this area who stayed here all night with us without attending to their crops. This clearly shows that they did not have the fear that they had back then last night. As Newsfirst, we constantly said that your life matters to us as well, not just news.
අපි ප්‍රවෘත්ති ගැන විතරක් හිතුවේ නැතුව ඔබේ ජීවිතය ගැන අපි හිතනවා කියන එක අපි හැමදාම කිව්වේ.
Members of the Civil Defence Forces and Department of Wildlife Conservation extended their fullest support for this initiative.
This human-elephant conflict has claimed around 3 to 4 human lives and 15 to 20 elephant lives, which is why the Newsfirst Gammatha program of the Capital Maharaja organization took the initiative to construct this electric fence equipped with new technology better than the previous fence.
The responsibility of taking care of the elephant fence was also handed over to the Gammatha Savi organization. The Gammatha Savia program focuses on supervising and maintaining Gammatha projects as well as building leaders among the rural community. Gammatha Savia organizations are being set up at grassroots level in conjunction with the projects undertaken through the Gammatha 100-day program.
We hope to protect and conserve this elephant fence at least for the next 10 years in a bid to protect not only the crops of the farmers but also their valuable lives. We are extremely thankful to Siva sir.
While several other projects are to be implemented with the people for the people, projects which have already commenced are nearing completion and are due to be vested in the people.
The 20th Presidential Export Awards ceremony organized by the Export Development Board was held under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena at BMICH in Colombo yesterday.
The award ceremony was held to felicitate and recognize exporters who have made a significant contribution to Sri Lanka's exports. 113 awards were presented under 10 related fields for the year 2014-2015.
Sri Lanka has never really been able to get on top of our budget deficit. We have basically been a high budget deficit, high inflation, high interest rate, overvalued currency economy. Now, if you compare that with the performance of the successful countries of East and Southeast Asia, they ran very tight budgets. They had good fiscal outcomes, which meant that inflation was down, which meant their interest rates were low, which meant there was no pressure on their currency, and they were able to run stable and competitive exchange rate. So we actually did exactly the opposite, and that was largely because we were not able to have fiscal discipline. And we got away with it for years because we were a donor darling and got a lot of foreign aid. We have now graduated to low middle income country status. We no longer have access to foreign aid. So we are in a new paradigm. Why is it different now? Is it different? Can we sustain the argument that it is different? Well, on the one hand, the government is committed to a program of fiscal consolidation which intends to bring the fiscal deficit down to 3.5%. And I think we have the best chance we've ever had because we do have a unity government with both main parties represented, and this is the time to crack this problem.
Sri Lanka is currently at a juncture where it could no longer depend on debt finance development. Thus, a viable development strategy that will bring in more foreign exchange to the country is needed while promoting exports and attracting FDIs. For export promotion, FDI will support to enhance the supply capacity of export and make best use of the wider market access gained via FTAs. Making the transition from debt-burdened public investment to a private sector-led export and FDI-based development strategy remains challenging, but it is the only option available for us in Sri Lanka.
Sri Lankan swimmer Matthew Abesinghe managed to finish third in the men's 100-meter freestyle preliminary heats at the Rio Olympics. Meanwhile, Sri Lankan badminton player Niluka Karunaratne is set to compete tomorrow.
The men's 100-meter freestyle preliminary heats of the Rio Olympics was held last night. They were comprised of 8 heats, and South Asian Games gold medalist Sri Lankan Matthew Abesinghe took part in the second heat. Matthew, who recorded a time of 50.96 seconds, finished in third place. He joined this year's Olympic Games as the first Sri Lankan swimmer to qualify for the Games after having surpassed the Olympic qualifying standard. Matthew Abesinghe, who won 7 gold medals at the South Asian Games, failed to advance to the semi-finals of the men's 100-meter freestyle event.
Obviously, we're disappointed. We wanted to do a lot better than that for Sri Lanka. But he wanted to do a lot better than that for Sri Lanka. We will take the disappointment in the correct way, make it a positive experience, and then use that to do better in the future.
National badminton champion Niluka Karunaratne will take the field tomorrow. Niluka, a 14-time national champion, is Sri Lanka's top shuttler, having won the most number of national championships. Niluka, who took part in the 2012 London Olympics, is scheduled to compete against world number 2 ranked Chen Long.
With that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. Thank you for joining us. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
And I am Shahin Durangpati. Good night and take care.